level sensor EZ model is performed on the tank of the KAMAZ vehicle. The tank has a volume of 12 cubic meters. The installation kit for the tanker fuel level sensor includes protective casing that increases life cycle of FLS, protection from shaking, loosening, sensor connection wire, allows data exchange with external monitoring device, fuel level sensor, FLS, EZ model must be used only with the intrinsic safety unit BIS EZ, which provides explosion protection of FLS. FLS is installed vertically in the fuel tank, also as much as possible to the geometric center of the tank. Location of installation is called zero security zone. Intrinsic safety unit BIS EZ is installed in the first or second security zone. Before starting installation, you need to make inspection from outside the tank, to determine the geometric center of the tank, also, from the inside, looking through the hatch of the tank, to determine the presence of welding beads, enforcement ribs, walls and stationary fuel sensors. This preliminary examination enables to determine the best possible installation location of fuel level sensor that will not interfere with the stationary equipment and will not hamper the performance of tank. In addition, it is necessary to check if there is dirt and water on the bottom of the tank, in case that above-mentioned items make it difficult to install FLS. It is necessary to change the place of installation. Try to place it as close as possible to the geometric center of the tank. The hole in the tank for protection pipe of FLS is drilled by core bit with diameter of 51 mm. Drilling of an additional 4 holes with diameter 10 mm is required to install the probe protection pipe into the tank body. Before the end of the drilling with crown, tilt the drill and prevent boring parts from falling inside the tank. You need to break down it with the pliers. In addition, it is necessary to remove chips from the tank surface and prevent him from falling into the tank. Of the protection pipe height and the height of the fuel level sensor. Protection pipe should be the same height as the FLS, no closer than 20 to 30 mm from the bottom of the tank. It is possible to cut protection pipe up to 40 to 50 mm. Flanges height of protection pipe. The FLS and the height of the protective cap at the end of the fuel sensor should be taken into consideration during the measurement of the length of the FLS. Cutting of protection pipe should be done by angle grinder. Cutting of the FLS probe should be done by tube cutter. It is necessary to prevent damage to conductor, the string, during the cutting. After cutting of protection pipe and FLS probe, it is necessary to remove burrs and chips from the pipes. Copper wire tightening. It is recommended to screw in the measuring head of FLS before tightening. In this case, a spring tensioner will not pop out due to possible breakage. Also, make sure that the collet is screwed. After wire tightening string, it is necessary to fix it in channels of the FLS cap. Cut the remaining wire string so that the edge remains at the cap center. Apply a drop of sealant to the edge of the conductor to protect the insulation of the conductor end string from water that can accumulate in the bottom of the tank. Place the plug on the cap. Check that the sealant is not blocking drains of the probe cap. Then we check the quality of the installation, tapping gently the FLS probe in hand. You should feel the vibration of the stretched string. Install the protective pipe in the tank. Protective pipe in the tank. Screw it with 4 bolts. Next, you need to screw the flange on the FLS probe. Then you put on the gasket, which was treated with the gasket sealant on both sides beforehand. A layer of sealant should not be too thick, because after installing it spreads and can close the drains of FLS. Sensor fixed with 5 screws, which are screwed into the protection pipe of FLS. Measurement of the protection pipe height and the height of the fuel level sensor. Protection pipe should be at the same height as the FLS, so then 20 to 30 mm from the bottom of the tank. It is possible to cut protection pipe up to 40 to 50 mm. Flanges height of protection pipe. The FLS and the height of the protective cap at the end of the fuel sensor should be taken into consideration during the measurement of the FLS length. Cutting of protection pipe should be done by angle grinder. Cutting of the FLS probe should be done by tube cutter. It is necessary to prevent damage to the center conductor, the string, during the cutting. After cutting of protection pipe and FLS probe, it is necessary to remove burrs and chips from the pipes. Remove excess of the sealant under the flange of FLS. Screw the FLS measuring head, previously checking the presence of the rubber ring. Connect sensor head with a connecting wire. After the final installation, you must seal the measurement head and connector jacks of FLS to prevent tampering. fixing the connecting wires by zip ties. Grounding of the connection cable of the fuel sensor is performed to the terminal bolt. Cables are laid on top of the tank and fixed by zip ties. They proceed to the cabin of the vehicle. Let us examine the second variant of fuel level sensor installation, in the hatch of the tank. This is the most common case of FLS installing. You should pay attention here to the welds in the hatch, as well as protrusions of the hatch tank neck. We perform all sorts of manipulations with hatch lock, to assure that they are not exposed to the measuring head and FLS wires. This installation option allows additional security. You can remove the hatch of the tank before drilling holes for FLS. Let us examine the second option of the FLS installation, in the tank hatch. You should pay attention on the welds in the hatch, as well as protrusions of the hatch tank neck. Grounding plus wires. Let us examine the third installation option of FLS, in the hatch of the tank. Before starting installation, you need to make inspection from outside the tank, to determine the geometric center of the tank, also, from the inside, looking through the hatch of the tank, to determine the presence of welding beads, enforcement ribs, walls and stationary fuel sensors. This preliminary examination enables to determine the best possible installation location of fuel level sensor that will not interfere with the stationary equipment and will not tamper the performance of tank. Particular attention should be paid to the welds in the hatch of the tank. They can be both longitudinal and transverse. Appearance of protective tube and falls in the tank after the installation. The distance between the tank bottom and FLS fuel probe is 20 mm, between the tank bottom and protective pipe 30 mm. An example, how to avoid striking the measuring head of the FLS and wires during exploitation of the tank with minimal human interference. connection cable of the flies is laid along the vehicle frame and is fixed with zip ties. Monitoring system boxes installed in so-called first or second safety zones. Boxes fixed by 4 bolts to the vehicle cabin. All the power cords and signal wires are connected to the system box along the vehicle frame. Intrinsic safety unit BIS-EZ is installed in close proximity to the monitoring system box in the same security zone. Additional grounding is connected to intrinsic safety unit BIS-EZ, which is clasped through terminal bolt to the ground. The wires from the FLS connected to Teletrek TT via terminal block wires connect color-to-color (POS). Neg fuses are installed on power wires of Teletrek TT and FLS.